Hello pirates, welcome to another video. This time, after the raid has started Vengeance in March, I've adjusted the Punisher build based on the targets. Kixeye made a lot of changes, and I want to share my latest findings and latest build with you. Apologies for my voice being a little bit hoarse. I've been under the weather a little bit, but I hope it's clear and understandable enough. By now we know that the VXP target was very misleading. That target had no splash on the short range turrets, but that splash was added in the raid. So a lot of the assumptions and the facts we had to build our ships was wrong, flat out wrong. Kixeye compensated that by reducing the damage in the targets, but did not change the fundamental dynamic where the short range turrets do splash. That's a fact, and I don't think they're gonna backtrack on that. After 3 days of raid, they haven't. I don't think they will. That means when you drive your ships all stacked, they will all take splash damage. Okay? Driving one ship ahead, usually the flagship, helps. And having evade on that ship helps. I recommend you use the flagship in front because it has more armor, more health points for the same repair time. So it's comparably cheaper to repair than the other 4 ships. The other thing, when I tested in the VXP Target, I found out that having or not having splash damage reduction was not making a difference. That's still the case. I did further tests even during Forsaken Mission with my Praetorians, and I've been asking people who added the damage diffusion system to their ships. It's making no difference. So please, at least for right now, don't invest in anything giving you splash damage reduction because it's apparently not working at all. We have an extra complication here in this raid because some players have Dock 16 and can build the Punishers to their full capacity, but the vast majority of players cannot. Kixeye said they were going to tune for what they call OP11 ships, but day 1 was a bloodbath and was not tuned for them, and now it's better. People are kind of able to do the targets for more reasonable amounts of damage. Initially it was like 3 hours of damage of repair per target. Now it's more like under 1 hour for most people I'm talking to that have a fleet of 5 ships ranked. Even those with the 200k ton limit are still able to do the 100 and 102 targets for less than 1 hour damage per. People with more advanced fleets are actually doing under 30 minutes each target. Weapon choices. Here's another area where I think Kixeye made a mistake, because the limited D99U launcher is way much better than the D99F. In the past 2 raid cycles, the limited weapon was about 10% better than the regular weapon. For this cycle, the U launcher, it's almost 80% better than the F launcher. So all I can say is get as many D99U as you can and build your ships with as many of them as you can, because it makes a huge difference. Fleets that are only loaded with the F launcher are underperforming big time, and my guess next month they will underperform even more. It's unfortunate, I think it's wrong, but that's what it is. Engines. So now we have an extra choice, the V42 rock block, but it's still a choice between something that will give you extra damage and extra projectile speed, meaning you kill things faster, versus something that will add some survival, some evade, and more speed. Actually, I still stand by the Scorcher turbine for 3 reasons. The obvious one, you get more damage. Plus 1030% here versus plus 928 here. It's a big difference. That 10% turns out to be like 102% more in the end, because it stacks on top of the stacks, it multiplies, so it makes a big impact. I don't find the extra evade helps on the 4 ships, just on the tank. And because you have to maneuver around those mines, I'd rather have a ship with a bit less combat speed and a good turn speed. So if you look at the 3 options, the Scorcher turbine has the best ratio, where the combat speed is not as fast, but the turn speed is almost the best, meaning you can make much tighter turns and you can maneuver around those mines without hitting them by accident because you're making a wide turn, because on the V42 that's what's going to happen. You have 15% more combat, but you have nearly 25% less turn, so you're going to turn wider, you're going to hit that mine more often, you're going to take damage more often. And I don't see a big difference in the time it takes for you to approach a cluster of turrets to kill them. You're not taking that much more damage in there. So I'm sticking to the Scorcher turbine by all means. Reload needs improvement. I'm using insulator charge capacitor because of the good mix of decent reload and the supercharge you get in here. It's absolute the best. So it's the best choice, and the second best is the Flechette feeder, but try to get this one. Was available in Pillage, and I think it's available now in the raid store. The armor choices now are much more narrow, so use the ZC2 from FM and the ZR2. Definitely clearly the best choice. You can use some D2 EV on the Flagship for tanking. And then you have the second best option, ZC1, ZR1. They're all limited though, except for the D2E. And then the final special, some people were going towards more Shockwaves and Interceptor system. It hasn't worked during the raid. People who were relying on Shockwaves are very disappointed, which means the Roaring Barrel system that increases multi-shot to 11, it's definitely the way to go. As for defense, just for the Flagship, instead of having the Roaring Barrel, go with either Guidance Scrambler or Agility System 4, one of these two. So build 1, this is what I'm using now instead of just ships 2, 3, 4 for actually all 4 Punishers, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the max weight you can have on them, you know, to have 6 weapons, 2 armors, and you could add a few D2Es if you want. I wouldn't, because 4 of them will add 40 minutes to your repair time. So if you have Dock 15, that's the setup. Highest possible damage output. It's slower to Shockwave than Interceptor system, but as we've seen now this raid, Shockwave is not the way to go. Multi-shot's the way to go. And again, if you have Dock 15, keep it under 47,000 tons each. This setup is at 42. You can take a launcher off and then add 2 more limited armors if you want. It's either or if you're using Dock 15. The build code for this setup is in the video description on YouTube. Build 2, it's something I had proposed before. It's not good. So just going for Shockwaves, maximizing supercharge, don't go there. And use as many U launchers as you can, and just use the Fs for the remaining slots. And over time, if you can, just replace them with U launchers. And here's my final version of the tank. So if you're running Dock 15, you gotta keep it under 10, 12,000 tons, which is this setup here. So Guidance Scrambler here instead of Agility 4, but I have Agility 4 right now on mine. 1 launcher, 2 cannon D35S or 1 D35S on cryonic charge. That will make this ship a slight, little tiny bit amount faster than the others. So it will naturally come ahead. But still you should manually drive it kind of like half a ship or a full ship ahead of the other ones if you're driving the targets. And then you put 2 D2Es, and I'm running it at 71% evade, and it seems to be good enough. I can do a whole bunch of targets before having to repair. The build code for this ship is included in the video description as well. Just look for Flagship tank. Build 4, the balanced and simple. I found it interesting because Kixeye is pretty much selling this in their limited time offers. Not exactly the same, they're not using Scorcher Turbine, for instance, but they are using the limited launchers, and they are using the other 5 specials I have in here. If you're gonna drive stack, this is a good call. When you get to dock 16, this would be a fully loaded setup. So the tank with 6 launchers, the heavy weapon, and the 2 cannons or cannon cryonic here for speed, 2 C armors, 2 R armors, 2 evade armors, guidance scrambler, and the other 5 specials that I've shown before. And then for the other 4 punishers, 8 launchers, heavy weapon, 3 R, 3 C armors, and roaring barrel. I put the heavy weapon on 3 of my ships, the flagship and 2 regular ships, and it makes a bit of a difference, not a huge difference actually. It helps. I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but the reload's so slow that it's not gonna fire as often as you would like it to, and sometimes it's gonna fire on places you don't need it to, and then it won't fire where you need it to. So, bit of help. Not huge, not critical. If you're struggling for points in this raid, let me be clear. Get more U launchers first, and then only if you have points to spare, go after the heavy weapons. The U launchers will make much more of an impact on the quality of your ships. Thanks for watching. Have fun. Take care. See you next time.